There's some breaking news to bring you now, and it has been announced in the last few moments. We understand that the former Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak, has declared that he also is throwing his hat in the ring to be the next Prime Minister. He's put it there on his Twitter feed: "I'm standing to be the next leader of the Conservative Party and your Prime Minister." Well, we can bring in our chief political correspondent, John Craig. Not entirely a surprise, is it? But there it is, he's standing.
Yes, he has confirmed he's standing. I must admit, it always looked likely on the dramatic events of, well, there have been plenty of dramatic events this week, but on Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock or thereabouts, when the Prime Minister was giving an interview saying sorry for the Chris Pincher affair and saying he'd made mistakes and so on, you'll remember first we had Sajid Javid quit, and then a few minutes later Rishi Sunak quit. Now those two are very close, and at the time it did appear that Rishi Sunak would be quitting to prepare for a leadership bid or a leadership challenge. Well, now we have confirmation. Rishi Sunak, who is the MP for Richmond up in North Yorkshire, he succeeded William Hague there when William Hague left the House of Commons, safe Tory seat. He's known as the Maharaja of the Dales up there in Yorkshire, fabulously wealthy. Now, a few months ago, he was the darling of the Tory faithful, and he looked like the odds-on favourite to replace Boris Johnson. Then came a series of rows about his non-dom status, his wife's tax affairs, and his wife's wealth. The question is, has he been damaged by that? Another question perhaps is, will his friend Sajid Javid support him or decide to run himself? It's possible Sajid Javid might back Rishi Sunak with perhaps the promise of returning to the job of Chancellor, which he did very briefly. Just on the statement we've just had from Rishi Sunak, incidentally, he's also produced a video, a campaign video of, I think, 2 or 3 minutes, which I haven't seen yet, but I'm told he has produced a video. Let's study what he's saying. He's talking about restoring trust, rebuild the economy and reunite the country. Ready for Rishi is his slogan. And you'll remember in his resignation letter on Tuesday evening, he did talk about the damage that Boris Johnson had done to trust in politics and so on. There was barely concealed anger from Boris Johnson and his supporters on Tuesday evening, because unlike Sajid Javid, who went to see the Prime Minister and out of courtesy informed him what he was planning to do, quit the cabinet, the first that inside number 10 they knew about Rishi Sunak quitting was when they saw his announcement, which also came on Twitter. His resignation on Tuesday was followed by some pretty savage briefing against him by number 10 insiders. And indeed, the Prime Minister said at a meeting with Conservative MPs that evening that perhaps now we'll be able to cut taxes. And of course, Rishi Sunak's been succeeded by Nadhim Zahawi, who we expect probably to be a candidate for the leadership as well. But what is becoming clear now is that, as well as some of the perhaps less senior candidates who've thrown their hat in the ring already, for example, some of the backbenchers who are talking about it, like Steve Baker, Suella Braverman, the Attorney General, looks like the big beasts in the Tory jungle, if I can use that hackneyed old cliche, are ready to enter the contest, because we have now the Chancellor of the Exchequer, as was until Tuesday, and we are expecting a declaration fairly soon from Ben Wallace, the Defence Secretary, who is reported to be poised to enter the race as well. He said he's consulting his family about whether to run. And the other senior Conservative cabinet minister we are expecting to enter the race shortly is Liz Truss, the Foreign Secretary, who has been in Indonesia for most of the week when all the dramatic events have been unfolding here at Westminster. She's due back this evening, so she may break her silence. As for Rishi Sunak, well, he is ready to go. He's no doubt got a team of backers.
John, sorry to interrupt you. I just need to let you know that hot on the heels of that declaration of his candidacy there for Prime Minister is Mark Harper backing him.
Right. Well, Mark Harper, of course, is a former chief whip, former minister at the Home Office under Theresa May, big critic of Boris Johnson. That is a fairly senior backer for Mr. Sunak. I was just going on to talk about other candidates declaring. We believe that a declaration from Ben Wallace is fairly imminent, also Liz Truss, that I thought for a second you were going to say that that Sajid Javid was saying he was going to back him. That would be highly significant because many MPs would regard the Sunak-Javid combination as a fairly attractive one. It has to be said, though, that there are those who say, Conservative MPs, who say that Rishi Sunak's appeal to Conservative MPs and indeed members is not what it was because of the non-dom row. And that he's been damaged by this, he didn't handle it very well, and he was shown to be not particularly robust or resilient under fire. So has he recovered from that, or has he been badly damaged by that? However, Mr. Sunak is poised to run. His relations with the PM, the current PM, have deteriorated in recent months. Clashes over economic policy. The PM wants to spend and cut taxes. The Chancellor, as was, wants to get the public finances in order and not borrow our way out of trouble. And also, if you remember, around about the time, it was around about April, I think it was, when Boris Johnson said at Prime Minister's Questions, talking about Sir Keir Starmer failing to prosecute Jimmy Savile, Rishi Sunak very pointedly said, I would not have used that remark. So relations between Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak have been bad, leading to his resignation. Now, Mr. Sunak, who is sitting there addressing some workers on one of his many visits, has declared that he is going to run. He will be one of the front runners, probably not the front runner.
We understand as well, John, Angela Richardson MP has also tweeted her support for the former Chancellor as well. And we've been showing our viewers on the screen, I don't know if you've seen it, a very slickly edited pitch video from Rishi Sunak suggests to me that he hasn't made the decision to run on the spur of the moment. He's had this in the works for some time.
Looks like it, doesn't it? I mean, it was also pointed out that when he put in his resignation letter on Tuesday, the date, July the 5th, the number 5 was written, whereas the rest of the letter was typed. No, I'm sure he's been plotting this for a long time. I was about to say, actually, some cynics are saying, at least he won't need any millionaire donors to his campaign, because, of course, he's a millionaire and his family is in their own right. He will have enormous financial backing. He'll have a slick media operation. We've already seen brand Rishi the way it's been operating over recent months since he's been Chancellor. Angela Richardson, she is the MP for Guildford. I think I'm right in saying she was one of the ones who quit as a parliamentary private secretary. I believe that's the video you're showing there now. That looks like pictures of him when he was a little boy. Yes, me, it says there. He will have plenty of backers. He may well have some interesting backers in what we used to call Fleet Street. For example, he is very friendly with James Forsyth, the Times columnist. I think I'm right in saying that Mr. Sunak was his best man at Mr. Forsyth's wedding to Allegra Stratton, who, of course, you remember was the Downing Street spokesperson who quit in tears over the mock news conference in the Downing Street media suite. But clearly, of the major front runners, Rishi Sunak, I think it's fair to say, all due respect to the likes of Tom Tugendhat, who's never been a minister, and Suella Braverman, who is less well known, the Attorney General, Rishi Sunak is going to be one of the leading contenders in this race. And he's gone early. to get some momentum, no doubt. But the things we need to look out for in the next few hours and days, probably hours, is to hear from Ben Wallace and Liz Truss. They're the ones that we are still waiting to hear from, whether that we expect them to run. We probably now will expect to hear from them within hours, now that Rishi Sunak has set the leadership contest alight by announcing in a very slick, professional way that he is a candidate for Prime Minister.